Hey, hello there, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Weekly MTG. I'm your host, Chris Peeler, filling in for Blake Rasmussen, who's taking some well-earned vacation time. I'm one of the community managers for Magic, one of the folks behind the different social media accounts. You've probably seen me tweet at some point in the last couple of years. And I'm joined today by Reggie Valk.
Yeah, hi, happy to be here.
Glad to have you. So Reggie is from Studio X, the Magic Design Studio, working on Double Masters and a bunch of other different things.
Yeah. Been in the studio for a little over 3 years now and have touched a lot of different products, but worked on the original Double Masters and was on this team too.
Very cool. Great to have some continuity there.
Oh, yeah.
So yeah, we're going to be talking about a bunch of previews today. In fact, I'm pretty sure we saw someone in chat asking, where's all the Jeskai cards? They're all here. They're all on this show. This is where they all ended up. Blake decided this would be a cool, fun theme. I am a pretty big fan of spell-slinging archetypes generally. You know, like I'm not much of a control player, but I do love blue when it comes to, you know, tapping and bouncing and doing fun stuff, generating tokens off of instant triggers, all that good stuff. And we have a lot of that today. But first, really quick, brief note on the news. I hope everyone is going to have a great time at the different Command Fest events going on this weekend. I believe we have Philadelphia, among others, so hope everyone's doing well there. But you know what? That's all well and good. People are here for previews.
Let's get into it.
Let's get into previews. Let's do previews. All right, so like we said, we're going to be talking about Jeskai over the course of the show today. So that's the blue, white, and red color combination. Double Masters 2022 is all centered around these sort of three color archetypes,
That's right?
And all 10 are represented in the set in some way or another. So both your allied sort of arcs and the enemy colored wedges, all of which are sort of viable archetypes within the limited format. So before we get into individual cards, talk a little bit about what Jeskai wants to do in this limited environment.
So Jeskai is really leaning into its kind of classic prowess theme that was introduced when we showed off Jeskai in Khans of Tarkir. And so it's kind of classic spell slinging, cast a lot of instants and sorceries, attack with a lot of creatures, pretty aggressive, pretty lean, and just kind of making your opponent sweat when you're attacking with those creatures and having combat tricks up or kind of running a tempo strategy with maybe some counter spells or disruption.
Yeah, that's always one of the fun things that I found about this kind of archetype is that you get to be really flexible, you know, compared to other aggressive strategies where you have to go all in on, you know, either single large creatures or like, you know, trying to make sure that your board is always pristine all the time. You really have that kind of flexibility to have reactive answers to what your opponent's trying to do in this color combination. So tons of fun stuff. Let's get into it. We've made the people wait for long enough. So producer Sean, if you could get the first card up. The first of our previews we have coming up are all commons. And that is relevant.
This is a spicy one.
Yeah, relevant here for Monastery Swiftspear. Classic card introduced in original Khans of Tarkir block. AKA the most cool Raging Goblin ever printed, and now even more like Raging Goblin because it is a common with some fantastic alternate art there. Eric Velhagen doing that piece. Very cool to see Eric back doing more things for us, and a couple of other pieces in this set, including Mulldrifters. I think he did the full art version of that. Let's see, so we've got Monastery Swiftspear. We're going to sort of talk about a couple of these as sort of a unit, these three creatures. We have Jeskai Elder, also coming in at common, originally featured as an uncommon in M21, I believe. So that is a 1/2.
And before that, in Khans block again.
Yeah, in Khans block again, correct. 1/2 for 2, prowess, with a nice little saboteur trigger. That's definitely going to be a nice one in this limited format. 3 color formats tend to run a little bit slower, you know, with all the fixing and things you need to do. So having something that can sort of come out the gates and make a big impact early is sure to make for a great limited deck. And then finally, Militia Bugler.
This is some spice. This is at common, which is a big deal. It's a downshift, and in the limited environment, it's a lot of value. It is really good here. It finds our first 2 cards that we showed off, but it also is able to find some really cool value pieces. It can find you your Mulldrifter or your Wall of Omens, and I think I'm excited to try this out in Pauper too, seeing if I can curve this into Palace Sentinels or find my core Skyfisher, something like that.
Yeah, bounce it back, get all that value. That is good stuff. Yeah, I mean, this color combination, not known for having the biggest creatures, so
That's right.
Militia Bugler is going to have, your target density is going to be really high.
And even just having Vigilance is kind of doing that thing where I want to attack every turn and make you sweat.
Exactly, yeah, leading up to...
Put you to it.
Yeah, really low opportunity cost for things like bluff attacks and, getting aggressive with your opponent and then sort of, forcing them to have it or forcing you to have your trick to get in there. So yeah, these are sort of your three commons, the three creatures you're going to see quite a bit of in this color pair. Good stuff, but Jeskai is not necessarily, I mean, like, the creatures are the one thing, but, like, the meat and potatoes. We're talking about the instant
Gotta have some spells.
Gotta have spells. Gotta have non-creature things to trigger prowess and really get tricksy with the opponent. So let's get to our common instants and sorceries that we got going on here. First up, Mana Leak.
Classic.
Classic. It's been around for a while. You might have heard of it. It's just a, premier soft counter for... the better part of a decade and a half, give, take, or more. Way more. Oh, no. Don't think too much about how old you are. Anyway, Mana Leak, fantastic, coming in with with some familiar art and flavor text, but it'll be a staple in all kinds of blue decks within this format, I have to imagine. Next up, Spell Pierce. Spell Pierce making its return here in this set.
Standard legal right now, even.
Standard legal right now, yeah. Great role filler. You will basically always have a kind of target, and 1 mana is that's a good price. Good price to pay for when you're talking about an answer like this. And also with some great art from Dermot Power.
Yeah, another classic artist. I always think of that Tempest Gravedigger. Classic.
Yeah, no, that's definitely among some of the first cards that I ever opened and played with, so it's cool to see Dermot back again. Also did the full art for Anger of the Gods.
That's right.
Which you might have seen from this set here. Great little flavor text there. If you make me spill my drink, you're buying me a new one. Been there. We've all been there. Mage fights at bars, all that kind of good stuff. And yes, there we go. Here is another fun downshift. I believe, correct me, right? This is the first time.
Common.
First time at common, Izzet Charm. Fantastic card. Really sort of one of the leading examples of power through versatility. This card has, it was basically played in every format where it could be for a long time, all the way up to like Cube and Commander. Izzet Charm is fantastic because it is basically, there's no state of the game where it's not going to be at least a little bit useful. So talk to me a little bit about sort of how these commons all sort of play into the limited format. What are we sort of looking at as our building blocks for limited?
Well, with these spells that we just saw, we've got some really good kind of disruption, like we were talking about. These are spells that you can draft and leave up for cheap, leave up that 1 or 2 mana when I'm making my attack and be able to interact with my opponent just as efficiently as I can.
Yeah, absolutely. That's kind of the game plan for a deck like this. You're going to be, playing these like relatively cheap, pretty aggressive creatures early, and then by the time you start hitting turn 3 or 4, that's when you really get to have fun. You get to keep building your board presence and then having a little bit of leftover mana and resources behind so that you can start interacting more, doing more tricks, and sort of keeping your opponents from ever really getting on the front foot.
Yeah.
Yeah. Tons of good stuff here. Hopefully some of the Pauper fans in the chat are having a good time talking about some of these downshifts. I know it's pretty exciting. So yeah, have fun. Good luck in your brave new world of...
Some Boros bully action, I hope.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. All right, so we've talked about sort of the initial building blocks of this archetype within the limited format. Let's sort of go up the rarity chain a little bit, and let's talk about some of the really cool payoffs and some of the reasons to really like dive into this color combination. Some of the things that are going to be, worth pivoting into if you're in those first early picks of a draft, the kinds of things that make you really excited to want to play this color combination.
Sure.
Let's start off with, Young Pyromancer.
Young Peasy, back again.
Can't have this kind of archetype without a Young Pyromancer. Classic card. 2/1 for 2. Play it, or cast an instant or sorcery, make a red elemental. Young Pyromancer, of course, has been everywhere across all kinds of formats.
Oh yeah.
Just a real all-star, which is part of why it's so cool that it got this borderless treatment here from Steve Prescott.
That's right, and you might recognize that Steve Prescott art treatment because it kind of tells a story here.
Yeah, no, it was really cool. We were both diving into the art descriptions for these pieces earlier today, and double checking, like, wait, Steve did both of these, there? And then right in the art description calls out like that our Young Pyromancer here eventually becomes the seasoned Pyromancer that you see on the right, with some great little callbacks there, like the sort of the flaming elemental kitten on the left, and then the tigers on the right. Really, really great to see all of that come together.
Love these pieces.
Fantastic work. All right, let's get to our next one, Jeskai Charm. Again, talking about flexible, powerful spells that you can play at all different times of the game, things that are basically always going to be useful, and Jeskai Charm is definitely way up there.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Put target creature on top of its owner's library, deals 4 damage to an opponent or planeswalker. Creatures you control get +1/+1 and gain lifelink.
And of course, that threatens to be a +2/+2 if you've got lots of prowess creatures out. That can always be devastating.
Exactly. Jeskai Charm, always good to put in work. And just it giving you that temporary tempo advantage that these kinds of decks really thrive on. It's usually not about completely controlling or removing threats in this sort of deck and this archetype. More just about getting that just enough time that you need to really skate in, get your damage, and then close out the game.
And sometimes this can just close it out by itself. 4 upstairs is a lot.
Yeah. Nothing to sneeze at there with an almost lava axe attached to everything else that we got going on here. Okay, real quick, let's go to our next one. We've got Prophetic Bolt.
Another 4 upstairs.
Another 4 upstairs. Yeah, or any target for that matter. But
sure.
Let's be real. Let's go into the dome. Prophetic Bolt. Usually see this one at rare. Now downshifted to uncommon.
We did it at Uncommon in Vintage Masters, which obviously is a very powerful format, and so this is, I think, the first time since then it's back at Uncommon, and it's a spicy number. It's a lot of value. A lot of tempo.
Just a casual, 4 damage plus impulse. Do what you got to do. But yeah, that's really all of what this color combination's about. And for that matter, it's blue-red. We're talking about these 2 color cards here. But you're not really going to be shy about putting this into your Grixis or your Teamer builds.
Certainly
either.
not.
Yeah. These kinds of 2 color cards definitely putting in work in multiple different archetypes within the format. So
yeah, like you said, those Grixis and Teamer decks are often going to be a little more big controlling as opposed to this. And so having a 5-drop spell that provides this kind of value, it's going to be a hot ticket.
Exactly. This is a bit more of a curve topper in the Jeskai context. Right. Yeah, makes a lot of sense. All right, I think we have another iconic removal spell. There we go. Yeah. Oh my God! Right off the top, there's the lightning helix. Sorry, missed the opportunity to scream at the top of my lungs there. Apologies for the folks at home, but also, I'm sparing everybody the headphone damage. Lightning helix, classic Ravnica City of Guilds card making its way back. This one featuring the Vengeant Ajani art.
Oh yeah,
Ajani back when he was just had some anger problems he was working through. But again, premium sort of tempo removal spell, the kind of thing that's going to continue paving the way for all of your small prowess creatures and all of your saboteur triggers, while also getting some life back and sort of offsetting any potential losses you might have had early on.
Yep.
Just another great card for this kind of limited archetype.
And good to have for the modern deck.
Absolutely. Staple in that format for as long as it's been around. All right. Now, eagle-eyed viewers might have seen this one before, but, Mentor of the Meek, also another cool, exciting downshift.
That's right.
Going from rare back in its original Innistrad printing in 2016, or, no, wait, not 2016, or way earlier than that, sorry.
That's right.
2011. Oh, time is weird, squishy.
Don't think about it too hard.
No, not thinking about it too hard. So, talk about what a card like Mentor of the Meek is doing for this kind of limited archetype.
Yeah, so we saw Militia Bugler, and we were talking about how an awful lot of these creatures are small by themselves because they've got stuff like prowess, and you're going to want to grow them with either the prowess ability or other combat tricks and the like. And so this just provides some really nice value and kind of flow as you curve out, and if you're drawing your Monastery Swiftspears in the mid to late game where they might otherwise be a little less good than on turn 1 and 2, now I can kind of get some compensation here.
Exactly, yeah.
Or I can play my Wall of Omens and draw 2 and really go to town.
You love to see it, love drawing some extra cards when one isn't enough. But yeah, no, really getting that kind of like acceleration and velocity that this deck really, really wants in order to keep the pressure going.
For sure, and I'm excited to get that borderless treatment for my Commander deck.
Yes, that is a great treatment there. I'm probably going to be getting that one into Alesha when the time comes. That'll be a great addition to that deck. Very cool. And sort of the last among our uncommons, we got Breakthrough, which is a nice solid little card draw, card selection tool. Great that it's able to sort of flex and be a little bit modal in this kind of archetype. If you just desperately need a couple of key cards and you're sitting on a bunch of junk, doesn't need to necessarily break the bank in terms of cost in order to get that card selection that you're looking for.
That's right. X equals 0, save that for Legacy. Wouldn't recommend.
Don't go too ham.
Maybe if you're Sultai in a pinch, fill your graveyard for some spider spawning. But
if you're super desperate to get your Delph going.
But yeah, this, if you haven't played with this one in limited, actually paying X for a reasonable amount is pretty strong.
Mm-hmm.
So
absolutely, sort of doing its concentrate impression. That's right. On the high end there. Absolutely. All right, so let me take a look at our run of show here. Let me double check that we're about to get to the good stuff. I think it's about time. We've talked about some of the fun cards here that you're going to see a lot in limited. Yep, I think it is about time for us to get into the big stuff. So, first up, we got Revlark. Revlark making another appearance here. Now, not exactly, Revlark, not necessarily a limited powerhouse. Still going to get a lot of work done as 4-power flyer for 5. Definitely a key combo piece from decks, new and old, going all the way back. Mm-hmm. And
kind of made a little vertical cycle here with the Militia Bugler and the Mentor of the Meek.
Yeah, exactly. So we have all this sort of power 2 matters going all the way up and down the mana curve, which is super fun.
Cube staple, I'm sure people will be excited to grab that foil etched.
Yep. Grab that, pair it up with your favorite Karmic Guide, and go to town. Can't go wrong with Revlark. All right, let's move on to our next one, Talrand. Talrand we can't do all of these other token producers. This kind of Spellslinger archetype. Yeah. Got to have young Pyromancer, seasoned Pyromancer, and then honorary Pyromancer, but also there's Drakes, don't worry about it. Dracomancer, yeah. And first time in foil etched for Talrand. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's a nice one. I'm sure people will be excited to grab that for Commander decks.
Absolutely. All right, Abbot of Carol Keep as well. So another great sort of prowess role player here. Mm-hmm. Again, card velocity is so big in this kind of limited archetype. So being able to get that extra sort of impulse draw later in the game when you have 4, 5, 6 mana available, and
or turn 3, run it out, try to hit the land drop.
Yeah, exactly.
Classic.
Yeah, the old the classic. Don't play your land, pray that it's on top, and then go for it from there. But yeah, good to see Abbot of Carol Keep back there. Sean, I think we might have skipped over one. I believe there's another...
Before Revlark, maybe?
Another 3-color Jeskai card that I think we might have bounced right past. Oh, I see it. There we go. It is Jeskai Ascendancy. I was hoping that we would get to Revlark and Jeskai Ascendancy at the same time so that we could have sort of the The double whammy of every combo card you can want. But no slouch in limited either.
Certainly not, yeah. This provides, it basically gives all your creatures prowess and doubles up with your existing ones, and that looting ability on the bottom is huge power, getting to churn through an awful lot of your deck and find the goods.
Yeah, and speaking of sort of the offensive and defensive back and forth, like untapping those creatures, very relevant in any sort of combat-focused deck, being able to get aggressive and then surprise blockers coming in. Just a huge potential swing, in addition to being, the cornerstone of many, many fun, silly creature-based combos with tap abilities and all that kind of good stuff. All right, another downshift and another commander deck reprint.
Yeah, C19 originally.
C19 originally, yep. And Elsha of the Infinite. We saw Jimmy and Josh from the Command Zone make good use of Elsha, and of course the resident Vidalcan Orrery Flash proponents in the community. But yeah, Elsha's back here for the first time in a foil etched treatment, which is really cool.
And in a limited set.
Get to finally try this one out
40-card Elsha.
In a 40-card deck, as opposed to 100 cards. So that'll be a ton of fun. Again, prowess up and down the rarity curve, all over the place. Really quick, before we get to the next one, let's do a little bit of prep work, right?
Okay.
For the next preview. Had a couple of different cards that were coming in from this set that go way, way, way back, all the way back to Portal 3 Kingdoms, a set that was sold internationally, sort of meant to be an introductory starter set. It featured a lot of sort of iconic magic effects, but reskinned to have sort of that Romance of the Three Kingdoms flavor going on. And a couple of those cards are making their way back into Double Masters 2022. We saw Imperial Seal sort of at the beginning of the preview season. And now we have one more. Eagle-eyed viewers might have picked up on it already if you were, really, really on the ball on social. But you know what? Let's get it out here for its official unveiling. It is Warrior's Oath. Let's spend a little time on this one. Let's chat a bit about Warrior's Oath. First off, great new piece.
Call time flavor.
Yeah, call time flavored art this time around. Warrior's Oath is red and a red for a sorcery. Take an extra turn after this one. At the beginning of that turn's end step, you lose the game. No guts, no glory. Classic red deck kind of behavior. Final Fortune, I believe, was the original version of this card. And then it got sort of the Portal 3K treatment here in Warrior's Oath. So very cool card. Happy to see it finally making a return here after all this time and all these years. What are some of the fun things you can do in Limited with this one? Are we going for it? Are we going into the red zone twice in a row? Is that?
I think if you're taking this, you're going for it. That's what the old reminder text used to say. You don't lose the game if you win the game. And so, you're ideally using this as, basically an extra combat step and really hoping that it goes crazy. I guess you can even cast it and you get a prowess trigger off of it.
On top of, if
you're really trying to min-max it, which you probably are.
Extra turns are fine. We're here for the prowess triggers. That's what we're all about on weekly FTG.
Getting every ounce of value out of it. I think you need to be bold if you're taking this one.
Probably. Might be worth it, but either way, great card to see finally make a return here in Double Masters.
It'll lead to stories, good or bad.
Exactly. All right, and I think we have one final preview card for today for Double Masters 2022. One more Mythic Rare. It's Monastery Mentor. Okay, you thought we forgot. You thought we forgot about Monastery Mentor. No, we didn't.
Prowess creatures,
Prowess creatures, prowess triggers, making tokens. No, of course we had to have Monastery Mentor back. Classic from Fate Reforged. First time reprint in a main set since Fate Reforged, if I recall. There was on the list at one point, and then I think there was a
Judge promo
version of it. But yeah, first time back in a major set release like this. So yeah, 2 and a white for a 2/2 human monk with prowess. whenever you cast a non-creature spell, create a 1/1 white monk creature token with prowess. Someone is going to live the dream of getting this and Divining Top in their same pool.
Oh, no.
And I want to be that person. I don't want to be the person who has to keep track of that person's triggers. But at the same time, that's going to be good. I'm looking forward to that. I mean, gosh, you could even do that with Elsha if you're that lucky.
That could even be your pack one, pick one.
Pack one, pick one.
Double Masters, take two.
Exactly. Yeah. So speaking of all of that, let's talk a little bit more about the limited environment generally. You mentioned taking two rares or two cards from your first pick. Yeah.
Yep.
How do you think that sort of impacts the overall flow of the limited environment?
I think that it helps you find your lane a little sooner than you might otherwise. A lot of people are going to be inclined to, take a rare and probably something else. It's not too common that both of your rares synergize super well. And so I find when I've drafted this format, I'm often taking a pretty powerful rare because there are a lot of them, and a pretty powerful uncommon, say. And then pretty quickly, I'll figure out which maybe two colors I'm looking at based on those around, pack one. And then kind of the cool flexibility here of having all of the 3-color factions is that,
Right.
If I know I am red-white, I can be kind of eyeing, do I want to do blue? Could I splash for something sweet? Could I be green? What am I going to do? And try and, branch out from there. But I have all the options available to me.
Absolutely. Really quick, before we follow up on that one, we have a little bit of time here for Q&A. If anybody from in the chat here has questions for Reggie about the design of the set, especially limited play, since that's kind of the theme of the day here today, feel free to drop those into chat. Make sure to put an @magic there to make it a little bit easier for us to find. But by all means, ask away.
Yeah.
So you're talking a little bit about, finding your lane, sort of, being able to pivot a little bit there with these 3-color combinations. Talk to me a little bit about sort of how you see this format playing out in its 3-color identity. Are we looking, are your average decks going to look more like, 2 colors with a splash? Are we talking like pure 3-color madness, like, the old like 6 of each basic land kind of mana base?
Yeah. In playtesting and development, we definitely saw a mix of both. I'm definitely somebody that likes to do 2 colors with a splash more than anything. But it often depends on how many true 3-color cards you found and just what you're branching out into. The perks of a mastery set like this is that, all of the cards are so powerful that you're really not starved for playables in your packs. And so kind of world is your oyster there.
Yeah, that in that way it does sort of resemble a lot of cube limited environments where you are less concerned about finding the right number of playables and more about trying to craft and tune your deck to have that kind of like synergistic experience that really gets going.
Right.
So speaking of the fixing, how high are you taking fixing in this kind of limited format?
Pretty highly. So we have obviously our new checklist land technology. You haven't seen Cryptic Spires.
Yeah, in fact, producer Sean, if you have a moment and you're able to get Cryptic Spires up, please do.
And so that's 1 per pack, and that is pretty powerful. I mean, it is a dual land, any color you want, effectively, and so I take those relatively highly. And then at uncommon, we've got the full cycle of the bounce lands, Karus, and those are very powerful.
Yeah, a great cycle that'll both sort of get your fixing going and sort of help ease your draws a little bit. If you're, this is not the kind of limited environment where you're going to get randomly stone rained, unlike Cube. So playing that tapped bounce land, not as big of a liability as it might be in other formats. Right. And then you get great fixing to go and really facilitate all those.
Yeah. So I take that pretty highly. Just knowing that any 2-color land I take, especially early on, can probably see play in any 3-color deck that I wind up with. Especially Cryptic Spires has that advantage.
Right. All right. Let me double check here. I think there were some other things that I wanted to talk about with limited. Right. So one of the struggles that I have personally. Okay. So I have an expert from Studio X now. sometimes host this show, but mostly I moonlight as someone who is not actually that good at limited, but loves it a lot. So when you're talking about, we've been talking about the Jeskai color archetype today and this sort of prowess deck. What's the kind of like ratio of creatures to non-creatures that you're really looking to hit in a deck like this?
Yeah, so we're looking at a 40-card deck, and so you're usually running 16 or 17 lands. You know, these Jeskai decks can sometimes cheat a little bit because they've got some cantrips and are a little lean, low to the ground. And so then you're looking at 23, 24 other playables. I think it's not terrible to still err on the side of high creatures. Can't go wrong there, but, you know, I think it's okay if you're running, you know, 10 or more instant or sorceries, or, you know, non-creature spells in your deck. You can run, you know, something like, a 14-10 split, or, you know, even if you're daring, maybe a 12-12. It all just kind of depends on, you know, what those spells are, especially, you know.
Right, yeah.
If you do have a lot of spells that replace themselves easily, that I can cast for really cheap on low mana, then I'll feel a little better because I'll know that they'll dig me towards my creatures. If I've got a lot of, you know, just spell pierces and mana leaks, maybe try to err a little higher on, I really want to have that creature in my hand and in play early.
Makes sense. And then, you know, occasionally you'll get, you know, the perfect scenarios where, you know, you might have an instant or a sorcery that'll generate tokens, get a little bit of a 2-for-1. There's definitely a couple of cards like that in the set, so great in this archetype as well. All right, so I'm going to double check here, see if we've had any questions roll in from Twitch chat. Just a moment here. Oh, good question from Zendikon Sage. When is the full spoiler going live? That's tomorrow. Tomorrow we're going to have the complete card image gallery live on Daily MTG, and we'll also mirror that on Facebook for folks who are viewing there. But yeah, full card image gallery going live tomorrow. I believe we have some preview events for Double Masters going on at WPM Premium stores over this weekend, and then, next weekend. Yes, that's what. Yeah, next weekend. Time is tricky. It's hard. We've discussed that a couple of times on the show so far. It's not easy. Preview events going on at WPN Premium stores, and then full release on July 8th. But tomorrow you can get a look at the entire card image gallery. Feel free to keep those questions rolling in. We might sort of go back for Q&A a little bit later here in the show. But no need to, you know, belabor too much. We also have some alchemy things that we want to share with everyone on the show today. Producer Sean, if we could get some of that info going up. Earlier this week, yesterday, we had a piece go up on Daily MTG sort of outlining Alchemy Horizons Battle for Baldur's Gate. And that is coming to Arena soon. And Reggie, you also worked on that set, right?
I did, yeah. I had a little bit of a hand in working on that alchemy content. I've done a couple of Arena projects now.
Fantastic. So yeah, Alchemy Horizons, 81 new cards alongside a bunch of CLB reprints. And those cards are going directly into the Alchemy and Historic formats. It'll be a ton of fun. It has its own Mastery Pass, its own limited environment. Going to be a ton of fun with all these kind of like digital-only mechanics, things that we could never quite pull off in paper, really getting their time to shine here in Limited, or in MTG Arena. So that'll be coming July 7th, that full release. Mastery passes and pre-orders are available now, I believe.
Spoilers starting to trickle out.
And then, we're starting to get our first set of previews for that going up this week. So let's start off with our first one. We have Giant Fire Beetles here. 2 in a red for a 2/2 with Menace and Double Team. Double Team being a mechanic where when the creature attacks, if it is a non-token creature, you conjure a copy of the card to your hand, and then both of those copies lose Double Team.
Yep, kind of a replacement for Myriad.
Exactly, yep. So kind of your Myriad analog, and also just, again, keeping that you know, card flow going, and getting a nice little 2-for-1 on your creature count. And of course, you know, they're also giant cute beetles. Who doesn't love those little guys? Look at them.
Your opponent might not.
The opponent might not, but they'll deal. They'll live. Next up, Valiant Farewell, 1 and a white for an instant. Target creature you control gets +2/0 until end of turn. When that creature leaves the battlefield this turn, you get a boon with when you cast your next creature spell, it perpetually gets +2/+0, draw a card. A lot going on there. Talk to me a little bit about boon, Reggie. That's a new term that we're starting to see for this set.
Yeah, so we've been wondering and kind of thinking about how we wanted to make this mechanic happen and just figuring out it's basically a status effect that perpetually or not perpetually, that's a load-bearing word, but lingers over the game, and the next time you do something to meet the boon's condition, it'll trigger, and then the boon will go away.
Yeah, it's they behave pretty similarly to delayed triggers.
Exactly.
Yeah, very, very similar to what you might see on existing cards with, that small icon that might appear on like the left-hand side of the battlefield. Very similar implementation, but now just given, a nice name.
It can last through turns, which is different.
Yeah, it can last through turns, and sort of gives it all a nice, clean mechanical identity package in addition to, being sort of a reminder term there. All right, so next up, I think we have, there we go, good old Pegasus Guardian. This is just a straight up reprint from the main Commander Legends set. It is a card with adventure, which fantastic mechanic you remember from Throne of Eldraine, making its return into CLB, and
adorable art.
And adorable art. I mean, come on, it's just little horsies, and they got wings. They're cute. Love them. But you're already familiar with that one. Let's go to sort of our final and probably the spiciest of these new mechanics coming to Alchemy Horizons Baldur's Gate. This is Ambergris Citadel Agent. Might be Ambergris. Didn't chat up my D&D counterpart before this stream. My bad if I'm getting the pronunciation wrong. But a 2 and a red for a 3/2 Dwarf Cleric, legendary creature with haste and specialize 3. Whenever Ambergris Citadel Agent attacks, you may discard your hand and draw 2 cards, and then specialize 3. So let's talk a little bit about what the specialized mechanic is. So let me see if I'm following this correctly.
Sure.
Yeah, correct me if I'm wrong, Reggie. But the idea is that you pay that specialized cost and then discard a card with a corresponding discard a card, and then depending on the color or the land type associated with that card, you'll then specialize the creature into one of its...
Pick your path, basically.
Pick your path, basically, yeah. Transform into a different form. So let's get the graphic up again, and we can see all of the different versions of Ambergris here, all of them sort of giving slightly different flavors of discarding your hand and then drawing extra cards and getting some extra bonuses along the way. Including a sort of mono red version that gives you like a, super duper version of kind of the basic, basic form of the card there. Super cool. Again, the kind of space that you're not going to be able to do anywhere else but in digital play like this.
Right. When you're drafting the set, for instance, you can take this, and it is effectively a gold card, no matter what archetype you're in. So, if I'm red-black, I'm red-blue, I can take this, and it'll have cool, unique functionality in that deck, which is pretty nifty.
Yeah, that is super cool. Going to be interesting to see how all of those play out in Brawl on the platform as well. That'll be super cool. Producer Sean, do we have the sort of final graphic associated with? There we go. Yeah, I want to make sure we shout out once again. Alchemy Horizons Baldur's Gate pre-orders are up now. We have 2 different packages available. So we have the Lae'zel package here with some limited play, and then the Will package with all of these packs that you're going to get alongside it all. So again, pre-orders up now. Feel free to take a look at those. All right, so we've been talking a lot here. I feel like I've done a lot of word spitting. I am wishing that this had anything in it, but it is plumb empty. Real quick, let's take a look and see if we got any any other questions from Twitch chat. Oh, got a couple come in here.
Awesome.
Great. Deft4691 asking, will the downshifted cards be available for play in Pauper/Artisan on Arena at their new rarity? Great question. I will have a chat with some of our Arena-focused developers and get back on that one. That is a great question, including I'll chat with my colleague Jesse, who's been doing community work over on the Arena side of things. Shadow Shifter X asking if we're going to do more textured foils in the future. Really enjoys them. As with any kind of new treatment, new visual style presentation, tell us that you like it. Let us know how you feel. If it's the sort of thing that people really enjoy. Magic is not shy about doing more of what people.
Listen.
Yeah. We will listen, and we will do more of what people like already. So thanks for the feedback, and definitely something we're going to keep in mind for the future. RG Dawn Sword asking, are there box toppers? No, there are no box toppers in Double Masters 2022 draft or collector boosters this go around. Instead, those borderless cards that we've been showing are available in both collector and draft boosters. You can check the Collecting Double Masters 2022 article over on Daily MTG for more info on that one. Oh, hey, a question we've seen quite a bit before. We sort of breezed right past it, but asking about cryptic spires and legalities in constructed formats. Yes, it is. It is legal in Commander. Functions pretty much exactly the same way as you'd expect from how it works in Limited, really. Construct your deck.
It's a dual land.
It's a dual land. Granted, you're probably not hurting for too many tapped dual lands in non-limited formats like outside of Double Masters 2022 Limited, but if you wanted to, it is an option that's available to you. Fistful of Checks asking if you need to use 6 wildcards to unlock all of those cards re-specialize. I believe no. Yeah. They're all effectively multiple sides and versions of the same card. So you're going to be spending your wildcards on sort of the base card and then having access to all of those different forms and variations. Yep. Another question, is Double Masters 2022 a limited print run product? Yes, it's very similar to other Masters products in the past. We will print it, and then when it's gone, it's gone. Then another question about Monastery Mentor. Will it get a full art printing or just the etched? No full art, no borderless treatment for Monastery Mentor, just the foil etched for that one.
You're stuck with the beautiful Magali Villeneuve art.
Yeah, no. Sorry about it. Still have to stick with Magali. Oh, darn. But yeah, no. Lots of other different full art pieces from throughout the set, but Monastery Mentor, not this time. Maybe the next time it shows up. We'll see. All right, let me double check here. Any other good questions? Not seeing a ton else right now. Thanks again to producer Sean and Athena, my community colleague, for keeping an eye on Twitch chat. I am not nearly as good at multitasking as Blake is, being able to check out chat while also, talking and trying to be a person, not a camera. Let's see. Some questions about, this set, or Double Masters and, sort of the booster skew for it. We really focused on the draft format for Double Masters 2022, and then wanted to make sure there was options for people who really wanted those collector those collectible cards to have sort of their place to go if all they're looking for is to open up things. Set boosters just weren't in the cards this time around. Although definitely, if that's the kind of feedback that we'd like to hear, if set boosters for a Masters style format like this might be something that folks are interested in the future. By all means, throw an @ to Wizards_Magic on Twitter, all the other kind of social platforms. That's exactly the kind of feedback that my team likes to take in and distribute to all the other folks internally. That's one of our primary jobs, is sort of making sure that everybody who is talking about all these new sets and products and all the news, we sort of operate as kind of that filter between folks internally and externally. So if that's the sort of thing you'd love to see in the future, by all means, please let us know. Oh, hey, could we just run through the previews again? That's something we can do. It's been mere minutes since cards have been on screen. Let's do that again. If we can take it from the very top. Monastery Swiftspear. Jeskai Elder, another one of our common downshifts. Militia Bugler, that'll be a fun one. I think you're right. That one's gonna make some waves in Pauper, I have a feeling. Mana Leak. Spell Pierce with that great borderless art. Is it Charm finally downshifted to common as well? That one's gonna be fun. Young Pyromancer and its Borderless Treatment by Steve Prescott. Jeskai Charm, another great role filler for this kind of archetype. Prophetic Bolt, downshifted. Normally you see this one at rare, with the exception of Vintage Masters, of course. Lightning Helix off the top! There, that was right. Did I do it? Did I do the...
It's close. It was
Did I do the meme? Not quite? No, okay. Mentor the Meek, also getting a downshift. Breakthrough. Then going into our rares and mythics, Jeskai Ascendancy with its foil etched version. Revlark getting its time to shine. Talrand. Abbot of Carol Keep. Alsha getting a foil etch treatment for the first time at rare, first time in a... Also the first time you can get this card in non-foil.
That's right.
Yeah, for folks that prefer that. Then Warrior's Oath from Portal 3 Kingdoms coming all the way back. Good to see that one again. And finally, Monastery Mentor to round out our suite of sweet Jeskai cards.
Not wrong.
All right, I'm going to check one last time here for any additional questions that might have come in. Borderless cards available in draft. Yeah, again, double check the Collecting Double Masters 2022 article, and it will talk all about the distribution of different card types across the different boosters. And then, just a general question. What cards are you most excited about from the set? Personally, I am a huge fan that we keep getting Richard Kane Ferguson back to do different pieces.
Not wrong. That Dragon Lord Dromoka.
That Dromoka is just something else. I don't know. I think in a different life, I would probably be in a van with that Dromoka art just like spray painted, airbrushed on the side of it, and just like driving until I hit ocean, you know? Just a great piece. Cool card, but like fantastic piece. And I'm looking forward to putting that one into my Ur Dragon deck. So that'll be super cool. How about you?
You know, I'm a white mage through and through, so like I had been kind of alluding to, getting Wall of Omens and Mentor of the Meek in the new borderless treatment and getting to fill my decks with those. Super excited. And I don't even know what rare I would pick if I'm just trying to like put myself down to one. That Dragon Lord Dromoka is really nice. It is good. That Phil Foglio Chaos Warp, that one's pretty crazy.
Great to see Phil back again after all this time, and with all those cute little butterflies. All right, well, once again, thanks everybody for coming by. I think that's about about all the time that we have. Questions are starting to wrap up here. Thank you so much for your time. It's been great chatting, and thanks to Reggie for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Happy to be here.
It's been super great to see everybody. And once again, the complete card image gallery is going to be up tomorrow on Daily MTG, so you can get a look at the entire set, maybe run through the sort of exercise like we did for Jeskai with all the other 3 color combinations before playing the events on Magic Online or at your local game store. So once again, thank you so much for joining us. Next week, Blake will be back, and I believe he's going to be cracking open some packs.
Ooh, yeah. Exciting.
Nice, chill pack opening stream. Fingers crossed, knock on wood. But until then, thank you all so much, and have a good one.